Mine wishes I was dead right now.
Oh, Jesus. All right.
Here, COVID.
This is Gilbert Gottfried in New York, and you're listening to Chasing Ghosts on Scooters in Bars.
Chasing Ghosts on Scooters in Bars. A podcast that blends the COVID-safe scooter lifestyle with a twist of the paranormal over a cool cocktail. Join this larger, heterogeneous, grizzled crew for our adventures in the afterlife as we visit classic pubs, dive bars, and haunted taverns up and down the West Coast. This isn't smart or safe, but it sure is fun.
It is fun.
Welcome to episode 51. And this one's called Scooters and Conspiracies.
What?
Yep, that's what 51? It's called.
51? I thought the lizard said he was done at 50. Oh, wait, the lizard's not here.
Maybe
Lizard is not here.
Oh, my God. Conspiracies? Well, with what's going on in the world with QAnon and the government and locally here in Washington with all kinds of crazy shit and not so crazy conspiracies, we thought we would delve into some of the more interesting rabbit holes that people take themselves down. And
here we go.
Oh, yeah. We also spend a little bit of time with Josh Rogers, the president of the Vespa Club of America, and what's going on regarding the national scooter scene, his local scooter scene, AmeriVespa, and the overall climate for rallies for 2021. And we get to know him. We get to know him a little bit. Pretty cool dude.
Is he our first president or presidential interview?
I think he is.
That's a milestone. Yeah, nice. Nice get.
Hey, we're also going to have stupid fun facts.
I can't miss those.
Yeah, spooky and scooter news. So there you go. Pretty exciting stuff.
A full episode.
Well,
unless a chunk disappears.
Aren't they all a full episode?
No, they're full of something.
We have so much content. It's unbelievable. And I'd also like to say this earlier than later. Thank you for listening. You know, we asked on the last podcast for you to share our little passion project with your friends, and I guess you did, because we had our biggest download month ever in January of all months.
But tell them the sad news. You were crushed. You still were not satisfied.
I don't want to talk about it. We were one short of a benchmark, but I don't want to really talk about it.
Okay.
And then the next day was huge. It was unbelievable. It did. It hurt me a little bit. And also, if you have a cool, scary story involving a scooter, a ghost, a bar, a UFO, a Sasquatch, or other unexplainable phenomena, we would love to hear from you. Just go to one of our active and entertaining social sites or website.
And we've got many of those.
And send a note. Record a story on your voice recorder on your phone, or set up a time we can call you. We would love to hear from you. I mean, right?
Anyone, it sounds like.
Just about anyone.
They could even mail it to us, couldn't they?
So just so we're clear, we're at Chasing Ghost Pod on Facebook, at Chasing Ghost Pod on Facebook, Chasing Ghosts on Scooters and Bars on Instagram. ChasingGhosts.net is our website, and we have a small, weak presence on the Twitter at Chasing Ghosts on Scooters in Bars.
And what about our older audience who likes to refer to Ma Bell and let your fingers do the walking?
They can call you. Mark, what's your number again?
666.
And I do have to ask, has anyone out there seen a Bigfoot, a UFO, or a woman in white hitchhiking on a desolate, dark road near a graveyard while riding a scooter? Right?
Am I on the scooter or is she on the scooter?
Well, you're supposed to, she's hitchhiking, so you put her on the scooter.
Okay. Yeah. That would make more sense.
Which way?
Which is one of the most famous ghost stories ever. You know, the girl, the woman in white, side of the road, wet, lonely. You pick her up and she says, "Drop me here," and disappears. So it was a...
You must be reading books again.
Dropped her on a bridge.
All right. If you're an Audible subscriber, we're now there, along with, of course, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Gaana, And we have our own Alexa scale. Just ask her to play us.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's impressive.
I've also mentioned that we're grateful that we have listeners all over the world, except one past obvious glaring omission, Mark.
Switzerland's a little slow.
And that India has been huge lately, really cool. But how about these new countries that have popped up? South Africa.
Them?
Brazil.
Haven't they been busy with the variant virus?
They've been sending it our way. Brazil, Paraguay, Austria, Iran, and how about this? Nepal.
Oh, they just got electricity.
They heard about my spiritual awakening.
I think they also summited Everest in the middle of winter.
Yeah, they did. And Mark, guess what surprised me on this? I think you finally got a hold of a relative because Switzerland made the list.
Well, how about
Finally.
that? Full circle.
Oh, man. We also want to thank all of our local and global listeners that I didn't mention. A scooter ride, a cold drink in a bar, and a spooky ghost story translates anywhere. Okay, well, what
That was such a nice intro. What if we stopped it here?
we probably
Well,
should.
what I'm glad is the ads are over.
Yeah, no kidding.
Hey, I got a pitch wherever I go.
Gone commercial.
With all the snow and cold weather, I'm proud to say that you guys made it. Even though, Mark, you got stuck. We got about 6-8 inches of snow, and you backed into the new construction site next door where they formed up the road, and you.
I thought they paved their driveway. Obviously, they didn't.
That relative in Switzerland is not proud of you right now. Trust me.
Especially with 4-wheel drive.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, I didn't want to tear up whatever they had going on there.
The good news is they have no idea that I do a podcast, so we'll be fine. I think it's right across from my house. So, Keith Pendominono, what does that mean, by the way?
Absolutely nothing.
What do you want it to mean?
Where did it come from? Once again, we think it's your handle on Grindr.
There is a story behind it, but I don't. I've told it before. So
Okay. So what's going on? What's happening?
Oh man. Well, I think I mentioned last time we got a new scooter in the family. So that's
No, you were in line to get it, but you weren't sure.
We actually got it. Yeah, the family backed out, and we got it that day. So my wife is now the rider of a Buddy 170i, and
Very cool.
yeah, been cleaning that up and putting it together. So it's very cool.
You're doing something with the handles, with the brake.
I need to find some adjustable levers for it. It's been proving rather difficult.
We all need an adjustable lever.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Isn't it levers?
Is it levers?
Well,
That's the soap.
It's that or blood flow. One of the two.
Any home improvements? Anything going on?
Oh
in
yeah,
your
we
new
got 2
fancy
bathrooms
garage?
going. We got garage is slowly coming together, but yeah, the inside of the house we're about midway through.
Yeah, you happy?
Very happy. Got a great guy working on it.
I mean, in general.
Very happy actually.
Because you look like shit, Keith.
Life is good. As I told someone the other day, turning up the beauty that life holds for us every single day.
Well, it sounds like somebody else has been reading too.
Wow, you've been reading.
Welcome to the world of Wide Awake. All right, Coach, what's going on with you?
Well, not a whole lot, although I can say that our friend Bobby Chong gave me a burn barrel, and I had my first burn last weekend.
Wow.
Did you quite exciting?
Did you video it? I'd like to see.
I did not, but
Did he put some salve on it?
Burning barrel. That's funny.
Thank you.
no, but it wasn't quite red, so I didn't have to.
Ooh. You know that analgesic they give away in the when you're like playing football, you're wrestling or playing basketball, whatever it is. There's that orange analgesic that's in these big tubs that's in the training room. Yeah. One time I got that in the wrong spot.
Well, that's not going away quick.
Oh man, it was a good hurt.
You've been there before.
I'm surprised you do that in a gang shower.
I got a hack.
No, that's analgesic, Mark.
Hey, Bobby Chong, what's going on with you? What's up?
Oh, I just celebrated a birthday. Not a milestone birthday, but at my age, I suppose.
Birthday, Bobby.
Yeah. So, but you made a day of it. My God, what'd you do?
Oh, breakfast, bought a new motorcycle,
Right.
dinner at El Gaucho.
Did you end up buying that?
Well,
Yes or no, Bob?
apparently,
Yes or no?
Apparently, Teresa's in the middle of it.
So you are.
So what is it?
Yeah, what'd you get?
It's a Ducati desert
Is that the scrambler you showed us?
scrambler desert sled. Yeah,
Nice.
800cc.
What do you do with that?
Take it out in the
You
snow
can
like
do
today?
almost anything you want. I mean, it's not quite a dual sport. It's not it's not set up for extended touring or anything like that. But
Were you going to put bags on it?
yeah, small fabric.
So it's an 800.
Yep.
How fast it go?
I don't know.
Will it put your hair back?
I'm guessing it'll do over.
His hair's
100.
already.
That's what I was going to say. He's already got it tied
into
back.
a ponytail. So, are you getting rid of a bike?
Well,
to make room for
congratulations.
it?
So the real story here is I'm not getting rid of one. This is supposed to be in between my Harley and my Vespa, right? Something.
A tweener.
Yeah, a tweener. But Teresa didn't like the current model coloring.
Oh, the Ducati.
Correct. Because, Ducatis are red. They're all red.
That's true.
And they just came out with this Ducati that has gold rims and blue fender and a two-tone tank, blue and white, and a black frame. And she said, if I see that in my garage every day, I'm not going to be happy. So we're shipping a red one up from California.
So this is your bike, right?
Yeah.
So it's all red, or does it have the mixture?
Well,
of
it's a red
colors?
frame. Just they have a exterior, exoskeletal, whatever you want to call it, frame, and it's red.
Well,
and the rims are black.
Fun.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Sounds like He-Man.
Yeah.
Exoskeleton.
So that's pretty exciting. Pretty nice. 55th birthday.
Yeah, exactly. Very exciting.
13 years ago. So yeah, what's going on with me? You ask.
Yes.
Oh, okay, go
Mark, what's
ahead.
been going on with you?
Well,
This is the only reason we do this segment, is just to get to you.
How's your journey?
I just finished reading Green Lights, which is Matthew McConaughey's book. Actually, I listened to it on Audible, which we're on, by the way.
Is he trying to sell a Cadillac in that book?
He talks about the fact that he goes,
Lincoln.
yeah, I got a lot of hell.
Lincoln, sorry.
Got a lot of hell for those ads, but sold a lot of cars.
Made a lot of money.
Made a lot of money. But it's actually really good. And he's a funny guy, pretty spiritual.
And what inspired
So
you to buy this book?
I'd heard that it was good. So I listened to it and while I'm driving between boat stores. So I enjoyed it. I'd recommend it. I mean, he's had a charmed life, that guy.
Mm-hmm. I've always wondered, Mark, do the Audibles read every single word in the book?
It's a good question, Bobby.
Yes, including the foreword and the epilogue.
Oh, cool.
All right.
All right.
Because I couldn't read a book that fast.
I hope you're not reading that book on company time.
No, certainly not.
Okay.
I've got some more books in the queue, too, concerning overall awareness.
I'm aware.
I've been meditating with Deepak. Yeah, it's been pretty good. I got his app now.
How about two-pack?
Not Tupac.
Okay.
He's Deed. I've been, speaking of waking up, becoming awakened, our dog Otto has been awakening me at 4:44 a.m. every morning for the last week.
Well, it's getting lighter out.
He's groaning, he's whining, he's wagging, he's doing all these things. He's waking me up, and it's like, Mark, you can attest to this.
He has a boner too.
At 4:44.
At 4:44. Yeah, I mean, I look at my fancy Apple Watch, and it says 4:44.
I think there's a great chance to do an experiment here.
What do you think it is?
Change your clock and see if he wakes up at 4:46 when it's actually 4:44.
Or put him in the garage.
Or put him in the garage.
So what I did is I went online and I said, what does 4:44 mean? Because I can't go back to sleep. My alarm's normally set to wake me up between 5 and 5:30. It's 4:44. I don't really want to get up, but he does. And so I found this on Mr. Google and willowsoul.com regarding that time. And they said there are 7 reasons why we wake up at 4:44 a.m. First of all, this is a spiritual repeating number, so it's important. But it says, 1, you're receiving a divine message.
From?
Otto.
Wake up.
Wake up. 2, you're surrounded by angels and spirit guides. You're not alone. Nice. 3, your prayers will be answered.
If you only pray.
Yeah, that's a problem.
The
4,
new Catholic.
But this one, your soul is growing, and it's a sign of spiritual awakening. I thought that was pretty wild.
Highlight it.
I did. Here's one. Your natural intuition is growing. 6, you're in tune with the universe. And 7, you're living in the now. Now, I just read, remember I read Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now?
Right, but anything on there about killing brain cells or damaging liver?
No,
from
because
drinking or smoking too much?
because I've been dry for the last 2 weeks.
Really? Shake that glass real quick.
Well, I thought I would celebrate my 2-week sobriety with a podcast cocktail.
With a mid-month binge?
So my question is, if it's Otto waking me up at 4:44, is he the one going through the spiritual awakening, or is it me? Because I think dogs have souls.
Absolutely.
The Catholics do not. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
New Catholics, or regular.
I'm a Catholic.
Well, I guess
By trade, not by actions.
you're a Jack Catholic. Okay, so I also just finished our hybrid and virtual boat show.
Can I ask a question? Did you ask, what about 4:30?
I didn't, but I will if you'd like me to.
I'd like to. I'd like to know.
Or you could type it in your own computer.
Somehow I think I'm just a big POS. I'm waking up at 4:30 in the morning.
Are you?
Yeah.
Well, maybe you're going through a spiritual awakening.
You're
too.
the early bird spiritual awakening.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. You're going to get the worm one of these days.
Makes me want to pee.
Well, that's never going away either.
3:30, 2:30, 1:30.
My number's 1111 still. I see that on the clock from time to time.
kidding.
That's a really well-known angel number that says that you are open to some sort of crazy.
McKinley.
Yeah.
There's a great bar in the 1111. So anyway, as I was saying, I just finished. I talked about the boat show I was getting ready for in the last podcast. Finished it. We killed it. Had a great run. So I guess I have a job for another month. And if you need a boat, drop a line and we'll hook you up.
Okay, stop.
Call me at 4:44
This is a scooter podcast.
p.m.
You'll be at happy hour. You won't answer.
Yes, I will. Guess what?
Time for?
Some stupid fun facts.
Nice.
Compliments
Nice.
of uberfacts.com.
Thank you, Uberfax.
Oh, so nice of them. They said, hey, because we have a conspiracy-themed episode, Uberfax tried to keep their submissions in that vein with a loose affiliation to some sort of conspiracy. So you got to figure it out when we read it. So here we go.
Oh, is this like a Jeopardy?
Yeah, it's
You're
a little,
giving the answers.
Yeah,
and
you
then
don't
figure-
have to.
Okay.
You can try to figure out.
Jeopardy without the music.
Yeah. So, hey, Bobby Chong, can you do the first one?
Yeah. Dinosaur farts were one of the key contributing factors to climate change 150 million years ago.
Okay, it's been going on that long.
Yes, I think a little longer possibly, leading to the Ice Age.
But,
Well, we had an Ice Age in the past.
Yeah.
right.
So
Right.
why is everybody so surprised right now
Right.
that we're warming up a bit?
Because we're adding to it by burning fossil fuels.
Well, so were the dinosaurs.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think that was
we're
all
not
part
going
of
to
the plan.
argue the conspiracies. We're just talking about it.
That would be Dave. Dinosaur. That's an inside joke.
Dinosaur-induced flatulence.
Yeah.
Okay, Keith, let's give us the next one.
Teddy Roosevelt said, patriotism means to stand by the country. It does not mean stand by the president.
Okay, so
We're not arguing this, Mark.
I think I agree with it. But Teddy Roosevelt was the early
1896.
Yeah.
or something
So
like
the
that.
early 1900s.
He walked softly but carried a big stick.
That's
So
He
correct.
was a Republican, Mark.
I've been a Republican my whole life until recently.
and an asthma sufferer.
Mark is? I didn't know that.
I do not have asthma. So I'm now just voting my soul and my conscience.
Okay. Well, I got to say, I agree with Teddy Roosevelt.
I do too. And by the way, remember when we had some property out on Lake Cushman up in the Olympic Peninsula? Mm-hmm. Teddy Roosevelt hunted up there.
That's correct. Stayed in the sunken hotel
Yeah,
in the
before
lake.
there was a lake.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no kidding.
Okay, Coach, number 3.
Okay. The U.S. government once set a bunch of beer next to an atomic blast. Well, it's the same thing. Next to a...
He doesn't have his glasses on. I just handed him mine.
Holy shit, this makes sense.
And you're the youngest person in the room.
Yeah, but I've had the hardest life.
You're Boog Powell.
The U.S. government once set a bunch of beer next to an atomic blast to see if it would still be drinkable after. Turns out, in the event of a nuclear war, beer is still safe to drink.
Hallelujah, brother.
Yeah, but given the conspiracy theory theme today, you think that's really true?
Well, the fact that you'd be vaporized,
Right.
So would
you're
the beer,
gone, but
would
the beer's
beer
still
be-
there.
Would the beer be considered pasteurized?
Nuclearized.
Well, it went pasteurized in a flash.
All right, here we go. Gaslighting.
What is that?
A psychological abuse where a person is presented with so much false information they question reality.
Well, we are living in a gaslight.
We are. I mean, it's happening right now in the Senate.
And
I don't know. We'll find
Everywhere
out.
else.
We'll find out.
I thought we weren't a political.
We're not. I'm not
Okay.
making a judgment. I'm just saying it's fucking happening. Okay, Chong, number 5.
In the United States, false claims that result in damage are not protected.
By.
That says FY by the First Amendment.
So the First Amendment doesn't protect you if you lied and you caused harm to others.
Right.
Okay,
Wow,
Yelling
that's
fire.
not political.
Yelling fire. in
what
a
are you trying to
theater.
Look
say
at
here?
number 4 on gaslighting.
So that's like yelling fire in a movie theater.
I
Okay,
am
so we are
right.
sending a message this podcast.
We're not really. I
You-
think
you
everybody listening is nodding their heads.
need to stop.
In agreement.
Oh my God.
Did you know Uranus makes one trip around the sun every 84 years?
Did you know that Uranus was
It's not sore.
suspected
Like
to
yours.
be, suspected to not even be there for a long time? Big conspiracy.
Maybe you should have started that with the planet Uranus.
Okay,
Because
Keith,
you're not
number
84 and it's
7.
been more than once.
In 2012, a bumblebee tuna worker was accidentally cooked in a 35-foot-long pressure cooker with 12,000 pounds of canned tuna.
I didn't taste
How
the difference.
horrifying would that be?
That I'm
extra-
assuming they didn't survive.
Extra protein.
No, he didn't survive.
Did it get canned?
Where is the conspiracy here?
Well, I'm sure I probably ate some human tuna.
No, what it really is that there's always been a conspiracy about foods and what's in our foods.
Oh,
Why?
this is the lesson here.
Wouldn't that
It's
be
the
a
lesson.
Wouldn't that have been better served with a hot dog?
That's one of the ones.
Okay, so let me just chime in here. I worked at High Grade. I made Frank's, and we were allowed a certain amount of
Fluff.
Leeway?
mice droppings
Yeah.
and
No.
hair in every batch.
What's the
FDA.
food?
FDA.
FDA says, yeah, in bread, there's rat turds that are allowed.
Yep,
What's the big deal?
And some families are inbred.
that's true too.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
Looking across the room here.
How many marks do I see?
who gets stuck in a driveway? 10 feet from your location.
Oh my God. Okay.
I'm almost there.
Let's finish
I
this one
see
up.
you.
I'm going to finish this one up. Finally, fake news and conspiracies are 70% more likely to be retweeted than the truth.
Oh, shocker.
Oh my!
Gaslighting.
I'm not kidding.
I know.
Well, so anyway, there's our conspiracy, uberfacts.com list
/
for us.
hidden agenda.
Yeah, but you know what time that makes it? Time for
Scooter News.
And the good news on Scooter News, the great news is we were fortunate enough to have Josh Rogers, the president of the Vespa Club of America, all-around good guy, super intense scooter rider, tell us stories, tell us about Vespa Club of America, and do his interview now.
And our first presidential interview.
Right. Well, welcome, Josh Rogers. You're the president of the Vespa Club of America. Pretty big honor.
Yeah, thanks.
Pretty
for having me.
cool. Probably a lot of work, too.
You know, it is if you want it to be.
Well, tell us a little bit about Josh Rogers and your connection to the scooter lifestyle and how all this happened.
So I would say sometime in the early 90s, I was in Chicago. I saw a scooter whiz by. And if memory serves me right, and I put it together and my memory is good, it was a black rally with chrome cowls. And I was like, man, I want that. Right. And so I came back to California. You know, the internet wasn't super useful in the early 90s. Right. And I kind of figured out what it was. And I was like, I want a Vespa. That's what I want. Right. And then I graduated high school and my family gave me some money to, I don't know what they wanted me to do with it, but
Buy a Vespa.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I used it for sure. So I went up to First Kick Scooters, which at the time was in the East Bay in Oakland. Well, Berkeley, I think, technically, but so somewhere up in that area of the San Francisco Bay Area. And I met Eric Holliday, and I met, Pat Barron, who now is famously the Tiki King, if you want to look him up. And he was the mechanic at First Kick, and he was selling his P200. And I was like, oh man, P200. And there was a guy in a head shop closer to me who had an SS180. And that thing was just sweet looking, right? It had like the real vintage styling. It was like super cool. It had weeds growing out of it because it was just sitting in the side yard. And I was like, how much you want for that thing? And the guy was like, I want $3,000. I'm like, high school kid, I don't have $3,000, right? But I did have $1,000. And Pat Barron was selling his P200 for $1,000. So I went up there. Eric's girlfriend at the time, Stacy, I believe was her name. I got on the back of it, and she took me for a ride, and I was hooked.
Nice.
Yeah. So,
on the girl or the scooter?
Well, I mean, she was dating Eric, so just the scooter.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how that started. And then, so I brought it home. Like my first attempt at riding it was like scary, right? It's like full on wheelie.
Nice.
Like threw myself off, but didn't let go of the bars, right? And luckily had like not rolled on the throttle. So like the bike was just straight up in the air, and I was standing behind it going, right?
This is a problem.
Yeah, and then I kind of figured out how to manage all that stuff, and then actually took the MSF course, which much later in my life I would become an MSF rider coach for 10 years. I did that. And then I was off to college, right? And so I was using my Vespa to commute back and forth to college. And it so happened... So I hadn't put any of this together, right? Like I saw a scooter, I wanted a scooter, and I knew nothing about scooter culture. And also from high school, like, you know, in the early 90s, there was like third wave ska, and I was like really into that, and I never put the two together. And then on my way back and forth to college, this one Chevron gas station on the way, I stopped in, and so this was a time, at least here, where gas stations still had attendants. And there were a lot of them, actually, at this one gas station. And all of the attendants at this gas station all had scooters.
Oh, nice.
And so they were, like, checking me out. And I was like, well, this is weird, right? Like, why are you checking me out? Right? And then they're like, oh, that's mine over there. And I was like, ah. And those guys, like, opened the door to scooter culture. Even though I had been to a rally, right? My first rally, I went to my first rally before I bought my first bike, and it happened to be the Vespa Club Los Gatos.
Yeah.
Right? And at the time, the Vespa Club Los Gatos, their rally was an international event, in so much that because their founder was German, a few Europeans would come, but like the Canadians all came down. And it was a big deal. There were probably 100 bikes there. And that kind of sealed the deal for me, right? But I still, even though I had been to a rally, like I didn't have a scooter, so I didn't like I just went to their day show. I didn't understand that there was like drinking and riding involved, right? And then I met these guys, and they kind of set me straight, and I was really dedicated to getting out of college as quickly as possible. So I rarely went to events in college, right? Like I hung out with these guys in my spare time, but I was playing soccer and working and going to school, and like I knew these guys, right? And then after college, I was going to more rallies, Rally sucked. Rally sucked around here, man, because there were the guys that I knew, right, from just like being around, and like I met some guys, and then at the time there was South Bay Scooter Works, right? Some good friends of mine own that. Now they're good friends of mine. I didn't know any of these guys when I started, and they're all a little older than me, not by much, but just like maybe 4 years on average. Yeah, so I started my own rally, which lives in infamy out here on the West Coast, called September Shindig.
Nice.
We did things at that rally that you couldn't do today, right? They're just not cool, like not PC enough. But for me, right? For me, Shindig was the Burning Man of scootering, right? So we were there to ride scooters and have great interpersonal experiences, right? So it wasn't sit around in a parking lot and talk smack about like another club or people around you. It was like, we're going to go for long rides. We're going to play interesting scooter games and like learn history about San Jose. And, where I am in San Jose, the Santa Cruz Mountains are often voted in motorcycle magazines as some of the best motorcycle riding in the world. So that's where I, learned to ride and did all that stuff. And then flash forward to 2000, I actually joined the Vespa Club Los Gatos, and I'm actually the longest active member since then.
Nice.
Yeah. So
you're not the tallest, just the longest.
Yeah, no. Well, no, I'm not the tallest either. And then, and in the scooter world, I'm more famously known for Scoot Magazine, which I was a publisher from 2003 till 2010. Or I'm sorry, 2010. And we can get into that later if you like, but short story is the world changed and we went all digital about 18 months too early. So,
well, I do have a copy or two in my scooter library, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And I think that's it had a really good look to it, actually.
Yeah, thank you. I had nothing to do with that part of it. I did all the sales and all the office work, and we had a designer, and April managed most of the content. And then after that shuttered, and I lost my marriage, and I got hit by a car, all in a short period of time.
Wow.
Kind of the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
That?
He said it's
kind of the same thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit. So I kind of just had to step away from it all for a little bit. And then, my passion for scooters had changed, and hopefully we can touch on that and how it changed later. But I still had a lot of scooter knowledge and a lot of historic knowledge about the Vespa Club of America, which, by the way, I was not a member of until I became president.
One of the requirements. Huh?
Yeah, it was one of the requirements, but I saw an opportunity to help the Vespa Club of America expand its platform presence and future. And so...
Nice. And real quickly, can you just give us a 2-minute history lesson on the Vespa Club of America?
Can I give you 3?
2.5.
Okay. So in the 50s, there was a Vespa Club of America, and in the 60s, it kind of fell apart. And in the 90s, a couple of guys started it again. And the thing with the Vespa Club of America was it was $20 a year, and you got 4 issues of a magazine. And I don't know that they really ever got you 4 issues in the same year, but that was the goal. And at one time, we had 3,500 members. Today, we have just under 800 members. And
that's great.
And the 2 things that it did was it was this magazine, right? And it was Actually, do I have a copy here on my desk? I do. It was a, there you go, colory.
Nice. American Scooters.
Inside is all black and white, and it's about 26 pages. So it was in that area, right? And they churned that out. And the other thing they did was a Vespa, which I'm sure we'll talk about a little bit later. So,
yeah, well, great. And how long is your term?
That's an interesting thing. So we're working on it. There is no bylaw or constitution that says how long I get to do this. So we're working on that, and we stole what we're working on. The framework for what we're working on, we stole from the Vespa Club of Britain. Their constitution is 18 pages long, by the way. So, and there is a section in there for like term and like how long and whatever. And my experience is, and I've known all the presidents of the Vespa Club of America since the 90s. Don't all last 4 years. Some of them burn out faster. Bradford of Carrazzo Design, Carrazzo Jackets.
Have one.
Yeah. Famously was president for a year and then bounced, right? Because for him, he was just trying to get the mailing list was the honest reason he did it. And so I'm kind of opposed to limits. So, the U.S. scene varies a lot from the British scene, and I don't really want to go into that with you. But the problem is that because the American scooter scene is so big and so spread out, and finding anybody who wants to volunteer for any of our 4 or 5 positions that we have, like, there should be rules if people don't like what I'm doing that we can get rid of me. But I think as long as I have the best interests of this club and I'm motivated, I think I should be allowed to stay. But I'm also open to somebody being like, no, we need rules and we you should just do it for however and like get out. So
nice.
Yeah.
So real quickly, as a member myself, I know there's a lot of perks that go along with that, including some discounts and merchandise, and there's roadside assistance and of course a discount to AmeriVespa.
Yeah.
And bringing that up, what's the future? I mean, last year for COVID, it was postponed.
Yeah.
How are we moving forward with that?
So AmeriVespa is postponed again. So there isn't confidence enough in the state of the world that we could jeopardize our members' safety to host the event.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, it's a scary world out there, and we're slowly getting inoculated. But I guess we got to wait a little while.
Yeah, depending on where you are, like best guess is like 75% will be inoculated by Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
and that's, I mean, and that might account for like the 25% of people who don't want it. But
exactly,
because there's not a good roadmap and because we don't really know, like we couldn't. And then, we worked very hard with the Twin Cities Scooter Collective to figure out, like, if we can do it, do you want to do it? How about pushing it out? Right. We ran the gamut of options and they decided they wanted to take a whack at it next year. And the benefit for that, from my perspective, is that next year is actually the Vespa Club of America's 30th anniversary.
Wow.
So.
And 3 years to plan.
Right. 3 years to plan. Although the problem they're having is like the venues are struggling. And like the reason we canceled last year was actually because the hotel wouldn't let us do it.
Right.
Right. And then one of our venues just disappeared. Luckily we hadn't paid them anything. So like that worked. For everybody's safety, we'll do that. And then I should note that we did add 2 events to the Vespa Club of America kind of calendar. And one of those is National Vespa Parade Day, which happens June 27th this year. You can actually buy a banner for that event. It's a pre-order. We'll ship it to you before the event. And then Vintage Vespa Days, which we kind of got cornered into doing. We'll see how that goes. That's scheduled for August. We'll see if we get to have it.
Nice. And is there any other? I mean, you just go to the website. You can find that. Yeah. It's a great looking website, by the way.
Yeah, we just redid it. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say it must have been updated recently because it looked different from the last time I went on there. So nice job on that.
Great.
And it's really easy to navigate and find all those different events and discounts and things like that. Keith, you look like you have a question over there.
I actually do have a question. I just not a silly question. Vespa Club of America, are all riders welcome, regardless of brand, model, etc.?
Yeah. Yes. The short answer is yes. And that is not a popular view with the Vespa World Club. But so two things. For Vespa Club membership and AmeriVespa, my thought is, if you get past the fact that it's branded the Vespa Club and you're not a jerk, you can come hang out with us and you can come to our events. Right? Like
Keith is out then.
I'm off the list. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Well, I would think I guess it could go both ways. You want Vespa ownership or membership, but you want ridership as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one, right? I mean, when I became president, like, we actually crossed that bridge, and I said, do you want to be a Vespa club, or do you want to be a scooter club? And there's no wrong answer to that. But I was pretty firm, like, if this is just going to be a scooter club, I'm out, right? Like, I don't want to do that. So, but here we are, right? And in the 5 years, we've amassed a new officer team, and we've provided roadside assistance. And now we provide, as of last September, if you're a chartered club with the Vespa Club of America, your meetings are covered by our $1 million liability policy. You don't have to do anything for that. You just have to have a chartered club with us. So I guess you have to charter with us, which is a very simple process. And then go ahead.
Go ahead. Well, I was going to say, if the Chasing Ghosts on Scooters in Bars Scooter Club were on the road and a chartered member, is it during the meeting or is it while you're riding?
Yeah. So it's during the meeting, right? Like, you're still on the hook for wheels rolling events. But because of the way our policy is structured, if you had an event, like a parade or something you wanted to participate in, or you wanted to have a time trial, or you wanted to have a rally, we can actually insure those events for a fee, but it's a very reasonable fee when you start looking at the world of insurance for events like that. So we can do a parade for like $120, right? We can do a Giro for, I think, $150, right? And
that's another great benefit.
Yeah, if you did a 2-day rally, we could insure that whole thing for $300. Where if you wanted to do that, and like, your easiest, best option was to go through the American Motorcycle Association, and that was well over $1,200.
Wow.
So
that's great.
Yeah, and it's part of the benefit we're not only pushing to our members, but to the dealer network, so that we can encourage dealers to be hubs for events, because it's not their insurance, it's our insurance, right?
Got it. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Is there any other, as we move away from the Vespa Club of America topic, is there anything you want to throw in there before we get into finding out where you ride now and what you ride and that sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that the real benefit to the Vespa Club is not the roadside. It's not being able to insure the club. It is the growing network of members and comrades that enjoy sport. And you can't put a value on that, right?
Yeah, I agreed. Yeah. There's a certain sense of joy that unless you do it, you just don't know. So I think getting like-minded people together like that, whether it's virtually or otherwise, can be very satisfying.
Yeah.
We do it right here in the garage. in our crazy little podcast studio. So what are you riding now? You hinted at it a little while ago.
Well, I have 15 or 16 bikes.
What do you ride? What do you ride most? Maybe we should ask that question.
Whatever's running at the time.
God.
So the funny thing on that is, like, I'm primarily a vintage. My new wife, I got remarried. She wanted to participate in my hobby, and I built her a 74 Primavera.
Nice.
And I was kind of a little optimistic, like maybe too optimistic, that it would be easy for her to like hop on and ride, right? She's not a large individual. And she did okay. It wasn't great. And then I had kind of stopped being a rider coach for the MSF, right? So I stopped teaching, and I asked, because I didn't want to teach her how to ride. So I made her go take a class, and she had a horrible experience, unfortunately. And at the end of the day, I was like, I really want you to enjoy riding, and you're struggling with the shifting part. So we bought her a brand new 2016 Primavera.
150?
Yeah, the 150. And then she got tired of riding with me and my stuff breaking down, so she bought me a Journey. So I ride that.
Yes, with the number on it and the. Yeah. Okay. That's a 300 then, right?
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I ride. Not that version of it, but
yeah. No, it's super loud. Like, I'm really glad I got that one, and like we didn't wait for the HPE motor. Well, she didn't tell me; she just bought it for me. And like, she told me to go pick it up. I was like, okay. But yeah, that's kind of when I do ride. That's that or my GS. So I have a Cushman GS that I really like. So
yeah, we have a 63 or 4 Allstate, not in a running condition, and a 65 P8 180 that has a 200 in it.
Oh, yeah, I like that. Yeah. And we just, for your information, we just started the Vespa Club of America Allstate owners like sub club. So
nice.
Look for the details on that. They'll come out pretty soon.
Well, cool. Well, let's and you're in the San Jose area, you said.
Yeah,
so you're doing the ridings around there.
33 years. Yeah. So, so my home club, the Vespa Club Los Gatos, quite famously does an annual 3 Peaks challenge. And we've expanded that to 6 peaks. So, now we go up, Mount Amanum, and then we do Mount Hamilton, and then Mount Diablo, and then Mount Tam, and then Twin Peaks in San Francisco, all in one day. Wow. It takes about 12 to 13 hours.
Are there any stops at bars?
Not at bars. There is a lunch stop in East Bay, and then a celebration at the end if people make
nice.
It. Yeah. So.
Yeah, what we do is when we do our little stops, probably aren't a great thing to advertise, but it sure is fun. So it's not an overnight. Once you get all done after 13 hours, everybody after the celebration heads out.
Yep.
Wow. And tired.
Oh yeah. Imagine. Yeah, for sure.
So as you know, we do this little podcast about scooter. We do the scooter talk, and we go to bars, haunted bars, and classic pubs, and dive bars, and that sort of thing. But we also like to share a paranormal or ghost story or Sasquatch or something that's happened to people out there. So we got to ask you the question, Josh. Yeah. Has anything ever happened to you that you cannot explain?
Not to me exactly, but in college I had these friends who were always insisting that I spend the night, because whenever I spent the night at their house, whatever was in their house was calm. And they had tales of like stuff moving and doors slamming and like all the normal paranoia or paranormal stuff. And they said when either myself or my friend Eric at the time, either of us would spend the night, and they said it was always calm on when we stayed there.
Oh my gosh! So you must be a very grounded individual. Probably.
Sure. And then, like a personal thing, which is not paranormal or I cannot speak today. Not ghost related. Is I definitely saw a UFO one time.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm sure I was coming home from a rally or some event, and it was 2:00 in the morning or something, and like very slow over my house, and it looked like a B-2 bomber, quite honestly, but it was going really slow and made a hairpin turn.
Wow.
And like B-2s can't do that, right? They can't. So that was definitely a UFO, and it was super slow moving, right? It was.
Did you pull over and watch it, or were you?
I was actually standing in my driveway watching it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you hear anything on the news or from anybody else, or just your own personal story?
Yeah, and San Jose is a city of 1 million people, so somebody else had to have seen it, right? But like, and it was clear that night, but it was like against the blue-black sky, just this black thing, right? So,
wow.
Easily.
That's very, very cool.
Yeah.
Does that make you look at the world, at the universe differently when you see something like that?
I mean, I already had my beliefs that, like, if there is alien life, they want nothing to do with the idiots on this rock,
I get that. I get that. Yeah. Well, Josh Rogers, is there anything you want to add? Oh, Keith,
I have another question.
Yeah.
Hey, Josh, among your, I don't know if you have any statistics or anything, but in the club, are you a motorcycle rider as well?
Yeah, I have a 2013 Triumph Thruxton and a 1965 BSA chopper.
Cool. So do you know, are there numbers in your membership? How many people do both? Do you have any idea?
Oh, no, we've never asked.
Oh, okay. I always wonder.
That's a good question. We're about to send out a member survey, so maybe we can ask.
Yeah, if you join, Keith, like I'm a member, maybe
there'd be at least one.
You could answer
the
survey.
There'd be another one then. Okay, good. I'll have to join, absolutely. But I don't ride a Vespa.
No, but you have a Piaggio.
Yeah. But
it's a Vespa product. It's a Piaggio product, I guess.
Yeah.
So there you go.
And that's, one of the things that I'm trying to do is prove success with the Vespa Club, and then offer to Piaggio the starting of a national Aprilia club and a national Moto Guzzi club.
Cool.
Yeah. So good idea.
Well, thank you, Josh Rogers, for spending the time with us on the Chasing Ghosts on Scooters podcast. And we're really excited to have you, and best of luck moving forward with the Vespa Club of America. If you go to vespaclubofamerica.com and hit the Become a Member button, you too can be part of this really cool group. So thanks again, Josh.
Thank you, Josh.
Yeah.
Be safe.
Very, very interesting. I've got to say that not having been a member previously, I certainly will be now.
Oh, you're going to join the Vespa Club of America?
Absolutely.
And that means you'll have roadside assistance.
I've already got it through the AMA, but
you can get 2 tow trucks there.
Exactly, for my scooter. Although I got to say, roadside assistance through the AMA came in very handy when I hit the deer, so it's worth having.
Oh, it did for me as well in Tennessee.
So very cool. Well, thank
interview.
You.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Josh, for that time. And you're not done with us. We're going to make you come ride with us.
I was going to say we're going back to California,
and we're going to California.
We're going to drag him through it,
and we're going to ride with Los Gatos as well. Those are I follow them on social, so they look like a fun group. So there it is. What happens after Scooter News? That's right. It's time for
Spooky
News. So this is a little story that comes from the OhioRiders.com via Reddit. So it's a motorcycle blog that's called Ohio Riders, and it's called the Miami University Motorcycle Ghost.
So is it Miami of Ohio or Miami, Florida?
Yeah, Miami in Ohio. Miami University is in Ohio. And this is a really long story. I'm going to paraphrase it and kind of blow through some of the parts, but if you go to ohioriders.com or .net, I think it might be .net, you can read it in their forums section. The history behind the story takes place back in the 1940s. Innocently enough, the legend begins as a story of love. So if you look at the map on the left side, you can see
Didn't the Waltons start in the 40s? Up in the hills?
No, they were driving Model A's. It was in the 30s.
That's right. Depression. You're right.
Okay. In this area on the map that's on the website, you see this 90-degree turn. Anyway, a young woman used to live in the farmhouse and that was right near there. And she's one of the key people in the story. She had a boyfriend who used to visit her very frequently. Her boyfriend was a rebel, a troublemaker, and a rabble-rouser. And he owned a motorcycle, and he visited the young lady very frequently, and they were usually very, very late at night.
What were they doing?
We don't know. But this is farmland, and her dad was a farmer.
Okay, so now we know what they were plowing fields.
He was plowing fields. The daughter was, of course, the object of affection, and he was not fond of the rebel boyfriend.
Must have made him pretty angry.
Yeah, night after night, the boyfriend would tear up and down the streets on his motorcycle during the wee hours of the night, and after many restless nights and complaints from the surrounding farmhouses, the father told the boyfriend he did not want his daughter to see him during the week or at night. The farmer insisted people have to get their rest to tend to the fields.
True fact.
In the mornings.
Absolutely.
You came from a farm.
Yes, sleep is important.
So I love this. The boyfriend glad-handed the farmer.
Well,
oh, of course, mister. And promised not to create any unneeded trouble. Sure enough, the next night, the boyfriend came to see the farmer's daughter again during the very early morning hours.
More ruckus?
Yes, more plowing, I guess. The father had reasoned with the young man and insisted that his daughter not see the boyfriend. The boyfriend and the daughter knew the father was not fond of the young man, but that would not deter their love. A little Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, I see that.
The two concocted a scheme. After the girl's parents had gone to bed for the evening, the daughter would take the car to the 90-degree turn, park at the top of the hill, and flash her lights 3 times to signal for her boyfriend that the coast was clear. Upon seeing the flashing lights, he would come pick her up. So after a few nights of this, the farmer was infuriated, right? He wanted to put an end to this, and he strung barbed wire across the bottom of one of the hills at shoulder height so that the boyfriend would be a mess of pain and potentially headless if he decided not to heed the father's words. Just like clockwork, the next night, our man was on his way to meet the daughter. This time, however, he was on his way to propose.
Oh.
Dad screwed things up, I think.
Mm-hmm. I can see where this is going.
Yes. So
this story's just like clockwork.
Oh, my God.
Groundhog's Day.
I'm still looking for the paraphrasing.
Anyway, I'll spare the details. If you can deduce what happened here, the boyfriend died. So here's where the ghost story starts.
Oh.
And if you want to see the ghost, here's what you do. You drive to the farmhouse there in Ohio, you pull in the drive and turn your car off. After a few seconds, turn the car back on, drive back out to the 90-degree turn, stopping before you come to the hills. Turn your car off, which isn't the safest thing to do, they say, seeing that you're parked in the dark after a 90-degree turn at the top of the hill. Flash your lights 3 times.
Will I get laid?
If you're by yourself, again.
Depends on who you're with.
If you do all these steps, you will see the headlamp of the motorcycle ghost. And they say it's definitely a ghost, and they'll provide the proof coming up. The instructions were that if you see anything, even if you know it's another call, to call the other's car. They went out there, these kids did from the college, and they set up their cars, right? And they sat up there, they set it all up, they saw the lights, and every time they went to start their car to go rush down there, the lights would disappear. So it all kind of, they proved it to themselves, but it didn't work out perfectly, so they went back out and they set it up differently. So this time, this guy put his car down at the 4-way stop, and the others in the car with me decided that they were going to get out of the car and wander in different directions down each of the roads of the 4-lane stop to get a better view of oncoming traffic. Immediately, a large vehicle came tearing around the corner of the southmost road of a 4-way stop, turned left, going over the first hill. And they were extremely thankful that they weren't standing in the road. This thing just tore right through.
Sounds like it.
and then it disappeared.
Oh.
And they went up and down trying to find it. The only driveway it could have gone in had a big cable across it. They couldn't get through. They were completely flabbergasted. Went back to the dorm, because they were in college, and started telling everybody about it. So anyway, everybody was talking about this kind of urban legend and this motorcycle ghost. But here's the finish.
Thank God.
Well, this is cool though. If you go online, you can read about it. But finally, one summer night, my friend Ryan suggested trying to see the motorcycle ghost. I caved, and we were off to go see it.
Is this once every 84 years for you to see Uranus? Because this story it's a long one.
Well, they went out. Okay, so they go out there, and they didn't see anything. Nothing happened until they finally stopped, and all of a sudden, a woman went running by him. And the thing that he never told his friends was that part of the ghost story was that not only do you see the light, but if you stay there afterwards, you see a figure running by, and it's the woman chasing and running after the ghost. He was embarrassed because nothing happened. All of a sudden, his friend just took off in their car, and they were going 70 miles an hour down the road because he turned around and said, I just saw a dark woman come running by, and they took off. So anyway, this guy has seen the light and verified that his friends saw the
I'd rather you go back to the farmer story and tell me more about the farmer.
Well, that's because
he had
that's where
3
you come
daughters.
from.
Now, Mark, I think we've covered this one before.
We've never covered this one.
Not this one? Really?
No, there was another version of a different story where the guy came home from the war.
Oh.
And it was a different story, but it was a similar one, and it was in the same area, so maybe it was a variation of it. If you go to OhioWriters.net in their forum section, you can read the whole story. It is long.
Because our girl Kristen at Dew Point, one of our spiritual sponsors,
right?
She's aware of this legend, being from Ohio herself.
That is so cool. We're done. All right, let's talk conspiracies.
Oh, yeah, the meat and potatoes of our podcast.
And not the big ones floating around like QAnon. That's a big one.
I don't know anything about that one, though.
Well, apparently the Democrats are stealing children and trafficking them and keeping them in the basement of the White House.
Oh.
Well, we've always known that. Mark.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about conspiracies that make their way into the brains of many of us that hung out in our mom's basements. Late night in the corner bar and whispered conversations and chat rooms in the 1990s. I'd like to hear all of your thoughts on these theories as we go through them. So I'm going to bring them up, and I want to hear your opinion.
Yeah, what'd you come up with for conspiracies?
Okay, let's talk about chemtrails. This has been going around for a long time.
Never heard of it.
Is that like Chemlon?
No, it's different. Oh, okay. But it's also known as SLAP, a secret large-scale atmospheric program. This theory alleges that water condensation trails, contrails from jets.
Is that like a HAEF?
No. Consists of chemical or biological agents or contain a supposedly toxic mix of aluminum, strontium, and barium, and under secret government policies. An estimated 17% of people globally believe the theory to be true or partly true. In 2016, the Carnegie Institution for Science published the first ever peer-reviewed study of the chemtrail theory.
And the results?
76 out of 77 participating atmospheric chemists and geochemists stated that they had, what do you think?
No evidence.
No evidence to support the chemtrail theory.
Well, let's throw that one.
So if you took chemistry, you'd know something about a redox equation.
Yeah. It's like that fifth dentist.
So,
well, we can throw that one to the burn barrel.
Well, those who subscribe to the theory speculate that the purpose of the chemical release may be, can you read it?
Weather modification.
Radiation, weather modification, psychological manipulation, human population control, biological or chemical warfare, or testing of biological or chemical agents on a population, and that the traits are causing respiratory illness and other health problems. Have you noticed how we all clear our throats way too often?
I thought you had something in your throat. I thought that was the problem.
I've never actually breathed at that altitude unless I was inside of an airplane.
No, it floats down. It comes down.
Oh, really? It's heavier than air then?
Yes.
It wafts.
Okay.
So it's crop. It's crop
so you got to
dusting.
bring all your knowledge in.
So it's that high altitude induced flatulence
Right.
settling upon us.
Okay, here's one. The new Coke. Remember when the new Coke came out? Okay, this theory claims that the Coca-Cola company intentionally changed to an inferior formula with the new Coke, and with the intent either of driving up demand for the original product or permitting the reintroduction of the original with a new formula using cheaper ingredients. Coca-Cola president Donald Kayo rebutted this charge. The truth is, we're not that dumb, and we're not that smart.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The Coca-Cola's apparently sudden reversal on New Coke led to these conspiracy theories, including that they changed the formula. There's just all this stuff about it. And the thing is, there is stuff going on that we don't all understand.
Right, but the only thing I'll say about this conspiracy is that Pepsi was making a real big push toward Coke's domination in the soda industry at that time.
They continue to push.
Well, they pushed it. They were close then.
Every time I go to a restaurant now, is Pepsi okay?
Well, what about Dr. Pepper?
Yeah.
That's a Coke product.
We like the doctor.
I like Mr. Pibb.
All right, here's one. You may not know about this one, the Denver airport. And this I'd heard about
I've heard
before.
of the Denver airport.
Right. Some theorists believe that the Denver International Airport stands above an underground city which serves as the headquarters of the New World Order, which your President Trump brought up a few times.
Well, that's why it was over budget.
And they still haven't gotten their luggage.
Right. Theorists cite that the airport's unusually large size, its distance from Denver, the Masonic and alleged satanic symbols, as well as a set of murals, which also include depictions of war and death, may contribute to this. So there you go. They also say Nazi runways, remote locations, underground bunkers, and aliens and artistic depictions of the apocalypse are on the walls. And they are.
Well, that's enough for me.
Well, that's just history.
Yeah.
It's interesting history. And that one I might buy into a little bit because they were billions and billions and billions over budget when they built it.
Carl Sagan.
And years behind getting it finished because they were down there building that city.
Yeah, absolutely.
All
The
right.
Lost City.
Are you ready? Flat Earth.
I've heard this before.
Yeah, it first emerged in 19th century England, despite the Earth's spherical nature having been known since at least the time of Pythagoras.
That's a theorem.
It has. In recent
syrup
years,
with a lisp.
it's been promoted by American software consultant Mark Sargent through the use of his YouTube videos. Flat earther conspiracy theorists hold that the planet Earth is not a sphere and that the evidence has been faked or suppressed to hide the fact that instead of a disk or a single infinite...
Well, you know what? Kyrie Irving is in this
Kind of like
theory.
the moon landing.
Yes.
Oh, it's a disk or a single infinite plane.
Kyrie Irving believes in this.
The conspiracy often implicates NASA, and other claims include the GPS devices are rigged to make the aircraft pilots wrongly believe they are flying around a globe.
So if it was an infinite plane, then we would never be able to go around and come back to the same city we started with.
So you're talking logic, but this is the conspiracy. and the thing is, those GPS that think you did that, you didn't really.
Well, it looks the same. It feels the same. It is the same.
It was done way before the GPS was ever invented.
No kidding. I think Magellan would have something to say about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember a guy that.
Oh, he got killed in the Philippines, by the way.
I'm going to give you the website so you can get in there. You can talk.
My question would be, and I know this is not a time for questions, but what about physics? Does physics matter?
Apparently not.
No.
I flunked physics.
Okay. I built that bridge.
Nelson Eddy was my teacher. I built the bridge. I damn near won.
Yeah, there you
I
go.
came in second.
What did you use for press?
How'd they weight it?
No. How'd you press it together?
I used little tubes and I made them vertical.
Nice.
Another
And I wrapped
conspiracy.
the whole
Somebody else did the project for
It was
you.
Inga.
You put your name on it.
Inga.
Here's one that our friends at Home Record Podcast talked about on one of their podcasts, but it's the birds aren't real conspiracy. This has a following of over 500,000 people who insist that the U.S. government released a virus to kill off the birds. Yeah.
So there are more people on this earth that believe there are no birds then listen to our podcast.
Well,
By
it's
far.
it's getting close.
How smart is our group?
They claim that the U.S. government genocided birds from 1959 to 2001 by releasing a virus to kill them off. Now the movement says the birds have been replaced with surveillance drone replicas that watch us every day. In their estimate, the government killed over 12 billion birds and replaced them with robotic replicas. The history of the movement is that it started in the 1970s to make everyone aware of this atrocity and prevent the mass killing of the birds. Unfortunately, they were not successful. Now they intend to make everybody aware of the fact. Now, they say this could be a parody movement, but there are people
not a parrot movement.
There were a lot of people that bought into it.
I think Tippi Hedren had something to do with this, too.
There are a lot of people that dropped out of grade school.
This one I love. Mark Zuckerberg is a lizard cyborg.
What?
Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg hosted a live stream Q&A earlier, this says this week, and he was expecting questions about the emergent tech and online entrepreneurism rather than someone asking whether he was, in fact, a shape-shifting alien reptile.
Well, he's not exactly a good-looking guy.
Yeah, he thought it was very silly, but he's hardly the first prominent public figure to be fingered as a reptilian.
Oh, I thought you put a period after fingered.
George Bush, Donald Rumsfeld, Simon Cowell, Chris Christopherson have faced similar accusations in recent years.
I did not know that.
It's become something of a meme in the internet age, according to
Whatever that is.
wherever I found this, Wikipedia, thank you. But where did it come from?
Fake news.
Yeah.
How many conspiracies do you have? Is that it? Please tell me that's it.
No, I've got more.
Come on.
Here's a wrap-up.
This whole podcast is a conspiracy.
This is a wrap-up of the lizard people thing in a very recent bombing in Nashville. You remember that just happened?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
In early January?
The lizard was a part of it?
Here's the headline. Nashville bombing suspect sent packages to acquaintances containing conspiracy theories about 9/11 and lizard people.
And we don't have the lizard here to confirm or nor deny this.
Anthony Warner, the Nashville bombing suspect, sent an acquaintance a package of 9 typed pages and 2 USB sticks containing conspiracy theories he believed in, postmarked December 23rd, 2 days before the authorities described Warner's suicide attack in downtown Nashville. So there you go. Now you may ask, what does this have to do with scooters?
Yeah, where's scooters fit in this?
Okay. There are thousands of conspiracy theories out there.
Oh?
And when it comes to scooters, it's pretty quiet. But here you go. This is what I found. This is from Modern Vespa, the blog, and it's from a guy named Cabell.
Cabell.
He has a Vespa 200. It's a Vespa clock battery conspiracy.
Oh, no.
Here's his post. I decided to tackle the alleged neurosurgery required to replace the dead clock battery of my 2006 GT200. But it seems that wherever there has been a post or article or video on this procedure, including in the do-it-yourself section of this site, images or videos have been blocked or deleted. I'm not kidding. I've tried to view instructions on YouTube, video not functioning. Even the images here are not visible. Here's my theory. Piaggio knows that the engineering placement of the clock battery is so convoluted that it borders on insane, and allowing ordinary consumers to attempt replacement practically creates a liability. So they sent out some kind of Vespa battery replacement image worm to seek and destroy any visual representations that might help mere mortals like me.
I wonder if IKEA's got the same theory.
So I'm wondering why you would have a clock battery when you have a battery in your Vespa.
Right.
Yeah, but it has one so that when your Vespa is off, your clock keeps going.
Well, no.
Just because the Vespa's off doesn't mean the battery doesn't work.
Right.
There goes your theory.
I'm just telling you what Cabal said.
So, okay.
Should we get Andrew at Vespa Portland on the horn and find out what's going on here?
He's deep in snow right now.
Yeah.
He shut down his store today on Saturday. So there you go. There's just a beginning of some of the, I don't know, conspiracy
A lot of
theories.
conspiracies
that you
My
hear.
mind is blown.
So there you go.
What a show. What a show.
There you go. Any rides we want to tackle? I rode recently. I rode last weekend.
Sorry, I haven't.
No.
No? That's it?
No, I've been out in a while. Looking forward to the next one.
Well, the bars are open again.
There we go.
And so maybe on the next podcast, we'll have shared a trip out to the Exchange.
Ooh, that's
where
a nice
Lonnie
trip,
wants
yeah.
to go. In the meantime, thanks to all our listeners. I thanked you earlier for tuning in and for weeknights for our original music. To you all sitting here, my podcasting friends, and to the universe again. For opening up and allowing and swallowing me, so to speak.
Turn up the beauty.
Keep your head on a swivel, wear a mask, keep the rubber side down, and ride, baby, ride. Copyright by Chasing Ghosts on Scooters in Bars 2021.